What happens when peace turns into a nightmare? When a woman loved by all disappears, and her last moments hide a truth darker than anyone imagined. Sunshine Stewart went paddleboarding in Maine on July 2, 2025. She never came home. 5 days later, her body was found. And what the coroner uncovered shocked even the most experienced detectives. And now, a 17-year-old boy stands accused of one of the most disturbing crimes in Maine's recent history. Who was Sunshine Stewart? Why would someone want to hurt her? And what led investigators to a boy with no prior violent record? Let's unravel this mystery. Step by step. Who was she, really? Sunshine R. Stewart, age 48, was known for her love of nature, her gentle spirit, and her peaceful lifestyle. A licensed massage therapist in South Berwick, Maine, Sunshine was someone who found healing in the outdoors. Divorced for several years, she lived with her dog Jasper in a cozy cottage surrounded by trees. Her social media was filled with sunrise photos, positive affirmations, and quotes about peace. One of her final posts read, "Water is where I find my stillness." Friends say she was never careless, never reckless. So when she didn't return from paddleboarding that day, they knew something was terribly wrong. July 2nd began like any other. Sunshine arrived at Scotland Bridge Landing around 9:15 a.m. She parked her car, left her phone locked inside, and carried her blue paddleboard down to the river. A fisherman nearby said she waved and smiled. By 9:30, she was in the water. But after that, no one saw her again. Her paddleboard was later found floating, empty, about 300 yards from shore. Her car keys and flip-flops were still where she left them. By sunset, her dog was still alone at home. Her car remained parked. Her friends began calling. At 8:47 p.m., she was reported missing. Dozens of search teams mobilized. The York Police, Marine Patrol, K-9 units, helicopters, everyone joined in. They searched rivers, marshes, trails. For 5 long days, nothing. Until July 7th. A park ranger noticed a foul odor near a dense marsh inlet. There, partially submerged beneath thick reeds, was Sunshine's body. Her paddle had been found the day before, snapped in half. But what did the coroner discover? Blunt force trauma to the back of the skull, ligature marks on both wrists, defensive wounds on her arms, bruising around her neck, and strangely, her necklace, one she wore daily, was missing. This wasn't an accident. This was murder. But who would do this? And why? Police reviewed surveillance footage from nearby roads and boat docks. Around 9:40 a.m., just minutes after Sunshine entered the water, a teenage boy was spotted walking along the tree line near the shore. He wore dark clothing, a hood despite the warm weather. Locals later identified him as a 17-year-old from a neighboring town. Police obtained a search warrant. Inside his home, they found wet clothing in a trash bag, a hunting knife with traces of blood, a notebook filled with disturbing sketches, one of a woman on a paddleboard, crossed out in red ink. On July 16th, police made the arrest. The 17-year-old, unnamed due to his age, was charged with murder. In custody, he gave conflicting statements. First, he claimed he was just hiking. Then later, he said he saw someone fall in the water but didn't help. But GPS data from his smartwatch placed him less than 50 feet from where Sunshine disappeared. And there was more. His internet history included searches like, "How to choke someone unconscious," "How deep is York River?" "How long does DNA last in water?" That's the haunting question. Was this premeditated? Investigators believe so. Why? Because the teen had previously been spotted loitering near the launch point. For weeks, surveillance logs, journal entries, and even his drawings suggested a fixation. But was Sunshine targeted? Or was she a random victim? In the wrong place, at the wrong time? To this day, police haven't found a personal link between them. But the evidence points to preparation, not impulse. The community was devastated. Hundreds gathered at a candlelight vigil along the river. Her paddleboard was decorated with sunflowers and her name painted in soft pastels. The hashtag #ShocksJusticeForSunshine trended nationwide. But beyond grief came fear. How could a teenager do this? Why didn't anyone notice warning signs? Could this happen again? The teen is currently being held at Long Creek Youth Development Center. Prosecutors are seeking to have him tried as an adult, citing the brutality and planning of the crime. His attorney argues that he suffers from PTSD and untreated psychiatric conditions. A grand jury hearing is scheduled for later this month. If tried as an adult, he could face life in prison without parole. But the question remains, will justice ever feel enough for a life like Sunshine's? Sunshine Stewart lived a quiet life. She found beauty in silence, peace in solitude. And yet, her death has become a national headline. Her friends remember her laugh. Her clients remember her kindness. Her dog still waits at the door. We may never know exactly what went through the mind of her killer. We may never understand why such darkness chose that moment, that place. But what we do know is that Sunshine deserved better. Let her story be a warning, a tribute, and above all, a reminder. Even in the quietest places, evil can whisper. This is the murder of Sunshine Stewart. And this was her story. Subscribe for more true crime stories. Stay safe and stay aware.